Hey everyone, welcome to episode 16, hour 2, part 2 of Handy at the Shandy, a Las Vegas podcast. I'm Adam the Fraud with Table James Games and Boring Jack. Hour 2, we're going to go over some listener questions, some listener feedback, and a couple random topics here. And I want to start with something that we're plugging. And
what are
this
we
would
plugging?
be
What are we plugging?
Mike E. of Vegas Snob, formerly of Vegas Tripping, where he used to contribute. But he actually has a new vlog out, and I'm excited for this because I think of Mike E. as the one person who I really wanted to have a vlog, but also simultaneously he was the one person who I thought would never actually have a vlog. So it's great to see. And I don't want to give too much away of what he does, but he plays at a good level, gets VIP status, gets VIP treatment. But I think one of the compelling things he said in there, or one of the things he talked about, was his betting progression strategy when he plays Pai Gow. Now, this is not a system where he's doing to try to like beat the house. It's something that I think makes it a little bit more exciting for him. So if he wins a hand, he's kind of pressing his bet up a little bit. And he goes through like what his strategy is, because he also has a system for when he loses a hand and how he kind of comes back down and regresses a little bit as well. And I think that's maybe some people's hang up with Pai Gow. And I think it's something that I feel maybe I'm missing from when I gamble, where I'm just flat betting typically in Pai Gow and a lot of these, what we would call 50-50 games, even though Pai Gow's not 50-50, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So is this something that either of you would do or do? Or is it something that you not really is on your radar? Like you just don't enjoy it and you're kind of boring?
I thought that this was a great thing that was put into our notes because
thank you.
You're welcome. I have gotten to the habit of just kind of flat betting when playing blackjack or Pai Gow or anything, because most of the times that I'm sitting down to do that, I'm just with friends, and that's where my excitement and that's where my utility is coming from. But I was thinking about this of like, one reason why I really enjoy video poker is like there is that chance that you're gonna hit that royal and get a big payout, or even craps, like, oh, we're gonna go this big run. And if I'm at craps table, I'm pressing or I'm like upping my odds. So I think it would be a good thing to say, hey, if I haven't seen this yet, but I'm going to, because Jack's going to put the link in the show notes, and that's where I'll pay the link for it. But I think I do want to try, I don't know if it's this trip or in a future trip, where having some sort of progression. So that way I'm like, well, when I do hit that run, I am winning 4 or 5x my base bet.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, you asked if I'm boring. I am. And for me, Pai Gow just is one of those games where you flat bet. Like I kind of mentioned on the previous episode that you can take any game and turn it into a higher variance game by pressing or parlaying your wins. And so that you need a rarer result, but you win more when that result happens and stuff like that, such as winning 3 hands in a row is somewhat rare, but then you can make it so you win more when you win 3 hands in a row and stuff like that. And so I do see the appeal of doing that sort of thing, especially at games that aren't very exciting. But to me, Pai Gow is the game that is not very exciting. And you play it because you kind of just want that experience, right? Like in my mind, it's like, well, if you want a game where you're winning big wins on rare events, then just go play craps or something like that. Like I want to sit at the Pai Gow table and do that. The other thing for me is that oftentimes, like these days, Pai Gow can be like a $50 table. And so there's just not that much more room to go up. Like oftentimes I'm playing at a level where the base bet is somewhat exciting to me. Like I'd be happy to win that level, a few hands in a row over and over again, and wouldn't feel like, oh man, I should have pressed it. I win 3 $50 hands of Pai Gow in a row, I'm up $150. Like that's great. So that's another thing, is that sometimes you have to, in order to do a progression system, you have to either start at bets that aren't very interesting to you, or you have to end at bets that are too high for your bankroll. It's really hard to do both. Like, how do you keep all the bets you're doing within a range that they're interesting to you, but not going above and beyond what you should be betting?
Yeah, and 2 points here. Like, well, he's playing at a level where it works for him, right? So no matter what the minimum is, he's going to be okay with his bankroll to be doing that progression. But 2, he's not necessarily doubling his bet either. So it's a slightly different progression than maybe what some people might be thinking. But I think your point's well taken too, Jack. But I think for me, it's how do I make a game that I want to play more? And maybe if I'm playing by myself, this is something that I would do. But if I'm just hanging with friends, maybe it's not, or vice versa. I'm not really sure. But it was intriguing to me. I'm like, I need something right now to kind of feel something like when I'm gambling a little bit more. And this actually, I mean, we'll come back to that kind of topic in a second because we mentioned it on a previous episode. But I just like that idea. And again, it's not like him trying to game the table. Like he knows he doesn't have an edge. It's not like a system per se, but it's just kind of how he enjoys betting. So I like that. On a very similar note, in his vlog, something I like because it's very much not me, and I'm wondering if this ever was either of you two, but Mikey very much like I put in here in quotes, like he attacks Vegas. Like he goes out there, he drinks hard, not like Busch Lights. Like he has great cocktails, but he has, a decent amount of them. I think like the first words in his vlog were like, I'm drunk. Like that was like the lead in. So like he has fewer trips, but he's kind of hyper aggressive when he's out there. So he's having a lot of really good drinks. He's obviously gambling a ton. He's staying in these nice suites, staying out late. Yeah. And so like he's living kind of that Vegas lifestyle, but he's only going a couple times a year. And that's kind of what works for him. He feels like he's getting everything out of it. Is that style of Vegas appealing to you, or have you kind of lost it? I mean, Jack, you're going to bed at like 7 p.m. now in Vegas. Like, was that ever you? Or like, do you ever feel like you want to have one of those days?
To me, it's appealing for sure. I like the idea of just kind of treating Vegas as like a blitz where you're trying to do as much as you can. The only thing that I'll say about like staying up late, I just like kind of can't have fun when I'm tired. It's not like, I'm tired, but this other thing is fun enough that I'm engaged. It's the other way around where it's just like, if I'm tired, this thing that should be fun is now not fun. And that's kind of the issue with me, especially with the time zone change. I know he's coming from Southern California, so he doesn't have the time zone issue. As someone that's from a different time zone and goes to bed early in that time zone, that kind of doesn't work for me. But I do like the idea of like I've said, having done that 48-hour trip kind of spur of the moment, I'd be happy to try to do a shorter trip where I just pack as much as I can into the few days that I'm there. And for me, maybe that means that you start hitting the cocktails at like 11 in the morning, right? That's how I do a Vegas snob's worth of cocktails in one day, right? I don't have to end the night at like the Nowhere bar at 1 a.m. or something that.
I do not want to go fewer trips and be more aggressive. Like I'll take it from like the gambling side of things, because I did have this conversation with Kim when I was looking at our family win-loss last year, which was not great. Not great at all. I do think it was some bad luck, but it was also a lot more gambling. I think there was a mix of that in there. And I kind of said like, hey, if we only went to Vegas like 3 times and gambled this much, we would be treated like so much better. Like, is that what we'd want to do? And we made the choice that like, no, we would rather go out 5-6 times, go to other gambling destinations 2 or 3 times throughout the year and kind of stay at this level. But I could see a situation kind of like Chris is in right now over at Crap Vegas. I know we give a lot of shout outs to Josh, but
we're not plugging him. We're plugging Mike right now, but we will mention Chris.
I learned on the most recent Crap Vegas that our show is technically a spin-off of theirs. That's what Josh was arguing.
Well, that's offensive.
It's very offensive. But like Chris, like he's really busy having like a second business. So he's like, I'm probably only going to get out there twice this entire year and just like crush the win, like high limit stuff and like see how that ends up. So I do have, if there was a time in my life where I got a lot busier and I was like, man, I really can only go out twice. Yeah, I think I might hit it hard. But I don't think it'd be on the drinking side of things. I'm still not that big of a drinker overall. I can maintain, but if I hit the point of like no return, like I'm puking all night. So
that's probably why it's the point of no return, though.
That's true. That is true.
And I'm like the opposite, where I'm probably going as much as Mikey is, like maybe 2-3 times a year. But having 2 kids under 5 years old, I cannot go hard. Like I need a break because how Mike E woke up like on the second day is how I wake up every single day. Like he looked how I felt waking up, like a sick kid at home. Like, oh God. I love my kids, don't get it mistaken, but it's a lot. So I need that. And so I've been more taking it easy, although my gambling has picked up a bit in the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, it has, because of us.
It actually has.
I do find it, to your point, Adam, I do find it quite hard to relax on my Vegas vacations. And I'm trying to get better about that. But it also, my friends, who are not even particularly bad influences, but if you have friends around in Vegas, you don't want to relax. Right. Not only does it seem like kind of lame to be like, hey guys, it's 9 p.m. I'm going to go watch like YouTube and take a sad girl bath or whatever. Not only is that a lame thing to do, it's also not what I want to do in the moment most of the time. And so I would like to get better about relaxing on my Vegas trips, but it does come with an opportunity cost.
Yeah.
Trade-offs. Scarcity.
Well, anyway, I like seeing how other people do Vegas. Mikey has a very specific way that he does things. He's very transparent. I mean, he has one video out essentially, but he talks about how much everything costs, what he got comped, kind of the rates he was playing at and stuff. Definitely worth checking out. And so I think it's cool to see all these different kind of lifestyles that are being led, like Pennies to Vegas, who's like doing it super cheap. But again, he kind of attacks it. He's going all day, and you see like how he does so much stuff inexpensively. And then like on the other hand, you have someone who Mikey who's, attacking it from a different angle. So I'm glad that he's documenting it.
Sounds like I'm going to have to download this for the flight tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
And I guess I will probably also watch some documentary that Jack says you need to watch every time you fly to Vegas.
You don't need to watch it every time, but you do have to watch it.
Just watch any Louis Theroux documentary. Does he chase Bigfoot at some point? Watch one of those. All right, Jack, on one of our latest episodes, we had kind of talked about new gamblers and kind of how they're approaching things. Can you give us kind of a little bit of a synopsis of that conversation? Because it kind of leads into some listener feedback here.
Yeah, in the most recent episode, we kind of talked about how we were wondering whether new people getting into gambling need to feel like they can win at it. I think this next piece of feedback kind of questions, what does it mean to feel like they can win? Josh and Rachel are asking, they say, they don't suspect a lot of 22-year-old men that are getting into these types of sports gambling things are saying, oh, I'm going to get into gambling and pick a really good odds game so that I can grind out, $10,000 over the next 20 years of play. The question is, when we were talking about what does it mean to feel like you can win at a game or think you can win at a game? It's not really about thinking you have a small edge that you're going to grind out. It's more about seeing why you could be a winner. Whereas sports, I think, is very good at showing you the ways you can be a winner. Just pick the team that ends up winning the game. That shouldn't be that hard. You know about sports. So kind of the question, though, is more like, what sort of mindsets do we suspect people are in? And so, Adam, why don't you continue with kind of what Josh's feedback on that was?
Yeah, and I'm assuming it's Josh. Sorry if it was Rachel and I'm being sexist. But anyway, it kind of went on to say, instead, you're more correct when you describe the lottery mindset that your wife, he's talking about me, has had. And Jack made a fantastic statement. Oh, I meant to remove that. That was glossed over.
Thank you.
Jack's statement, quote, the lottery is selling a dream. They're not selling a lottery ticket, end quote, is a similar thought to most people who enter gambling. They aren't doing it to grind out $100 over an 8-hour session of blackjack or video poker because the odds might be better. They're hoping to hit life-changing money, which is likely very different for a 22-year-old in college versus a 42-year-old with a wife and kid and mortgage.
I think a really good point here is he's getting at some of the reason why these parlays are so popular among new sports bettors. I would argue that we were still kind of right, that sports betting itself is attractive because you can see how you could be a winner at sports betting. You just pick the winning teams. You just have to know more than the other bettors, right? But to his point, these guys aren't going in and trying to like find weird lines or do anything that looks like an AP play. Most people, even the ones that might think they have an edge in whichever way, they're going in and doing like a 6-team teaser or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, I agree with that, but I still would be very interested in, and I don't even know how you would like do some sort of survey like this. I'm sure there's probably research going on right now with the boom and all these young men doing the online gambling and whatnot. But like, are they saying, hey, I'm going to put this $100 on here because I'm really hoping to hit one of these parlays? Or is it, I'm putting this $100 on here because I can beat this and because I can do these 6-game parlays because I know more than everybody else? Like, is the gateway to get in, it's still out there that I think if they knew like, oh, I'm selling this dream, right? Maybe I'll win a lot of money. I still think you have to have some sort of overconfidence of like, I can beat this. And I'm not saying that they're going to, or that they have any edge at all, or that they're even trying to quote unquote find an edge. They just have this thought of, I can beat this. Then they get there, then they realize they can't. Then they either fall off and they don't gamble anymore, or they go into the whole, well, now I'm just going to treat this more like the lottery or more like entertainment. But who knows? We don't have any survey data on that, but maybe we'll get some.
Well, and I think, and Josh and I, anything that was ineloquent in here, me quoting Josh, because this was a conversation he and I were having on Twitter DMs, and I kind of condensed it a bit, but also thinking about the stakes, because when he says like life-changing money, what life-changing money is for a 22-year-old who's going to Vegas, and I remember that, is a lot different than me now. So winning $100, getting 4 aces, right? Winning $100 in video poker now, that's fun. It's cool. I'm happy when it happens, but like, it's not going to change my day at all. It's probably not. It might even mean like, cool, now I'm only down, $1,200, right? Mm-hmm. But like winning $100 as a 22-year-old is like, that might be double your bankroll for the day. So like the stakes matter too.
Yeah.
When you're talking about how they're approaching it. So it's like, odds be damned, I just want to double up this 100 and feel good. That might not be exactly what Josh's point was, but I always think about like, why did Vegas feel so good at times in my 20s? And I think it's because I had fewer responsibilities. I could gamble more with the money that I had. Like the stakes felt much higher back then. I have to be more responsible now. I'm happy to do so, but also like, it's nothing I'm doing out there is putting anything kind of significantly at risk for me either.
Well, so you got to start gambling with scared money, I heard.
I think James put it really well when he said overconfidence, because I think that's mostly what we were getting at, right? We're not saying, we're not necessarily arguing that new gamblers are doing it because they want to grind out a small profit. We're saying they're doing it because they're overconfident. And what that means is some unreasonable expectation of winning that maybe a more savvy gambler might not have. I think the point about kind of these longer odds bets is important, because I don't think we mentioned parlays once in that discussion of sports betting, even though parlays are what's kind of taking the country by storm right now.
Which I hate, because on my sports betting apps, like that's now the only bonuses I get, which I don't do. Like I used to just always get like 50% odds boost or like these other bonuses. Like, oh, cool, I'll take advantage of those for sure. And now it's like 20% odds boost on a plus 700 or more same game parlay. And I'm like, screw you, Caesar Sportsbook. Not plugging that.
And we can't plug Josh and Rachel because we already plugged somebody else, but they do have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and we've plugged them before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, already reached our capacity. So speaking of long odds, John B., friend of the show, tagged me in a tweet to you, James. It says, is Adam talking about making high house edge bets for the possible windfall? This is the same guy that had a 7-card straight flush and, quote, it's okay, I never play the bonus. That's what I said when I hit 7-card straight flush.
Without having the bonus.
Without having the bonus on. Did someone kidnap the real Adam? So for people who don't know, it was probably a decade ago now in Canada, so it actually doesn't even really count, to be honest.
Well, it counts more because they don't take the taxes out.
Okay, fair enough. But there was a meetup at Caesars Windsor with a bunch of people. John B. was there, and we were all playing Pygo poker. And I think it was a $5 minimum on the bonus bet, but it wasn't a progressive. So it wasn't like $400,000 I would have won. I think it was like $1,200, maybe a little bit more. But yes, I hit a 7-card straight flush, the craziest hand I've ever hit while gambling. And so, yes, I said at the time, I never play the bonus. It was just a rule I had at the time to make myself feel better, right? If you have a hard and fast rule, it's never like I would have won or I would have, you don't have to. It makes things easier that way.
It also makes you lose less money at the Pygo table.
Exactly.
Unless you hit something big.
Then my tune changed after this, where I said, I will play the bonus if the bonus rewards me enough money to change tax brackets for that year. And now it's just I play the bonus all the time. So anyway, no one kidnapped me. But yes, that was a very fun hand. I actually got tipped a couple $100. I think 2 people were on the bonus and they got money because I had hit that huge hand.
Right.
So I actually made a couple $100.
There is no way a 7-card straight flush with a $5 minimum bonus was only paying $1,200. You have totally convinced yourself it was lower.
No, it was not that much money. Let John B.
All right, I'll let
chime
John
in here.
Yeah.
Usually, the 7-card straight flush on the fortune bonus, to my recollection, is 8,000 to 1 if it's natural, and if the Joker is in it, then it's only 2,000 to 1.
I definitely did not have a Joker. But here's the thing: I was young at the time. I mean.
Yeah, you would have
had
a blue chip on it or whatever, right?
I was not that upset. So it's like, I mean, I really wouldn't have been that upset no matter really what it was. But like, I feel like it was not that high. But let John B. jump in here and let us know. But anyway, yes, that definitely did happen. And my tune has changed since then. I do play a little bit more aggressive when it comes to bonuses. But
well, you've hit one and neither of us have. So we're due. So I think Jack and I are the ones that
we should be playing the bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes, please play the bonus.
Another question came in on Twitter to me because I am doing all the work here for the pod.
Rough.
I'm doing all the work. From Richard A. or Law Books on Twitter said, considering staying at Win or Encore for the first time, the Encore is only $30 more than the Win, which made the call easy when I saw the larger Encore room size. Still, which room would you guys choose? And do the Win service superlatives only apply to Win, not Encore? And so when I got this question, my first thing was like, no, I always choose Win over Encore if I have the choice of their base room. But it never crossed my mind that one room was bigger. And really, I don't really see one room being nicer than the other. It's really just that you come down the elevators at Win and you're right there at the craps table, right there in the casino, where I feel like with Encore, you're coming out, there's a little more of a walk, you're just near the table games that I'm not going to play. So I'm doing it more for convenience.
I think that's the only thing you're right about, because I think the Encore room is light years better than the Win Basic room. Just the layout, how it looks, the design, of course, more room. I think it's probably the prettiest room in Las Vegas. They're about to redo it. I'm a little bit concerned about what's going to happen. But I mean, the Win base room is still gorgeous too. But to me, it's like, which tower do you want to be in at that point?
Okay.
To me, though, and this is always really poor podcast content because
we're good at that.
I always feel like casinos either have it or they don't, to me. Like, for every casino, it's just like the je ne sais quoi of that casino. And to me, Win has it and Encore doesn't. Like, I don't like the Encore casino. It feels a little cavernous in some ways, which is weird because theory is kind of the same layout as Win, but everything is just in a worse spot and it feels more rectangular. I don't know.
It feels like the storage area for Win.
Yeah. And so as a result, when you said, would you want to stay at Win or Encore? It's like, well, I'd stay at Win 10 times out of 10 because it's the nicer property. And so I wasn't really even thinking about, well, what are the rooms like? It's like, well, I just want to be at Win. And granted, proximity wise, being one full hotel closer to the rest of the strip, that does matter when you're trying to decide, hey, am I going to walk down to Harrah's or not or whatever? I don't know. When we go get that Guy Fieri brunch,
I can't wait.
You're like a full 6 minutes closer if you're at Win than Encore. These properties, they're connected, but they're not like immediately abutting each other.
Right.
Yeah, and it may be like, how long are you going to spend in the room? Right. I mean, because you're just going to get a gorgeous room no matter what. I am partial to the Encore room, but these guys, I hate to say, do make good points.
The last part of it, right? The Win service superlatives only apply to Win and not Encore, because I think a lot of times we talk about how great things are at Win. We never really say Encore. I think overall, service-wise, I'm just lumping them together. I will say that I've never had a bad experience with dealers at Win. I have had bad experience with dealers at Encore. Now, it's a small sample size, but there have been multiple times at the craps table at Encore where I've just felt like they were a little more just like not as joyful to be around.
Little uptight.
Yeah, a little uptight, little like show up, like not really being friendly, where I feel like at Win, especially, the early morning crews that I've played with have been just like really nice, and it feels good. I feel like I'm having a good time when I'm at Win, and when I'm at Encore, it like seems like it's a job. Like that's, if that makes sense.
You're saying Encore is the break-in joint for Win?
Yeah, it might be.
So, but a few table games crews notwithstanding, you'd expect to get great service at both properties for sure.
Mm-hmm.
One more Twitter question came in to me when I was doing the work for the podcast.
Is that really all you do?
That's all I do. That's all I do with my life is just work for this podcast. That's how I can afford to go to all these Vegas trips, is because of all the money we're pulling in from Handy.
And I'm offended too, because like for many of these people, including the next one, I've known them longer than they've known you. And now they're just sending you messages? Probably because they know I'm not going to respond.
That's probably true. So from Two-Way Hard 8 on Twitter, the question is, why do you all go to bed at 7 p.m.? You're in Vegas. Those were all in caps, which I want to tell a quick side story because I know this will make Kim laugh, and I know she'll be listening to this podcast. I was slightly drunk. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, and if I did, I don't care because it's a funny story. I was slightly drunk, and I did voice to text, and I screamed into my phone. And there's a part of me that expected it to be all caps when the voice to text, and it wasn't. Yeah. So I was semi-sad. But then I was thinking about it, I was like, no, that's how it should be. Like, we have the technology that if I scream into my phone, it should be all caps. Anyways, they have two questions.
Well, so first of all, I'm so glad that my reputation has rubbed off on the podcast enough that he thinks we all go to bed at 7 p.m.
Yeah, no, Jackson went first.
Yes, Jack.
And then I'm second, and then James is third. Mm-hmm. So it's 7, 7:15, 7:30.
Correct. Thank you you very much. I'm usually like a midnight 1 a.m. and then up at 6 or 7. Like if I get 5, like 6 or 7 is when I'm getting up. And
I'm usually like 10, 11 o'clock, 11, and then I'm not going to bed till like 1.
Oh yeah, I'm up to the room and brushing my teeth, putting in my retainers because that's how cool I am.
So you have the big headset one still?
Yeah. It's my Invisalign, so I can have semi-straight teeth. Thank you very much. And then I'm to bed right away. I don't need to relax. I'm not there to watch YouTube. I can watch Vegas Matt when I'm at home. So
I will say that normally that is my bedtime routine, is watching Vegas Matt before bed. In Vegas, I have no interest in doing that. I'm always just watching something else, which I'm watching British guys solve Sudoku puzzles. I'm not watching Vegas Matt.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Oh my God. Anyways, they did have a second question. But seriously, do any of you track comp value or try to maximize it in any way? So Adam, I'll start with you. Are you tracking comp value when you're going out to Vegas, and are you trying to maximize it?
I haven't in the past, only because I wasn't playing at a level where it really mattered to me. My offers weren't as such where it was big enough where I would make a fuss about it, or I would try more to get more. But I think now that things are kind of a little bit more steady health-wise with the family, like I know I'm probably going to get out 2 to 3 times a year and gamble more, that I think it's something that I need to be doing a bit better. So it's a timely question, because this year I am going to start tracking comp value because my offers are getting better, my gambling's picked up, and I want to make sure that I'm maximizing it as much as I can. So I'm kind of like at that threshold now where a host might come knocking at the properties that I want to have a host at, where I've had hosts be like, hey, here's an opportunity. I'm like, I don't want to gamble there, so don't worry about it, So yeah, that's definitely starting. So it's going to be a work in progress this year. I'm not sure, but Mike E's video that we talked about earlier was kind of a good lesson in how he goes about doing it, and I'll probably take some pointers from him in his videos.
Jack, what about you? Are you tracking any comp value or trying to maximize it in any way?
Well, I'm certainly trying to maximize it in a lot of ways, and the way I'm trying to maximize it generally involved just gambling a lot. But no, I've already talked about on the show a bit that like I've gotten a lot better at playing where I stay and staying where I play. Those exact two things, I guess. But I really don't have any interest in tracking my comp value. That I don't know what I would do with it. Like, what would the actionable info be, other than like at the end of the year I can say, oh, I did get these things. But like,
if you are tracking it for a full year and you realized that, oh man, MGM, when I'm staying at Cosmo, I'm getting a lot more per night or a lot more per coin in or something. You could then say, well, I guess I'll give a little more over to them. But, at the end of the day.
But you could see it the other way too, where you say, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm getting so much more from MGM than Venetian. Maybe I need to play more at Venetian, right? Like
Right.
if you're not actually tracking, you need to track if you're trying to do it for something like that, you kind of have to track the inputs and the outputs.
Well, yeah.
Like, but I mean, a lot of the time, some people just like tracking the outputs, right? Like you look
Right.
at someone like a Mark Duvall who just wants to have everything in the spreadsheet, right? Like all the tips I spent, all the free play I redeemed, blah, blah, blah. Just trying to do it for completion's sake kind of feels different than actually doing science to determine what inputs are getting you better outputs. And I don't have it in me to really track either of those.
It's shocking that you don't have that in you, because it feels like that would be right up your alley.
I agree with that. And I have no further comments on the matter.
And I mean, that's part of the way, like how I'm maximizing it this year, for instance, is that like one thing that I'd like to do is really split up my trip at multiple different companies, right? I'm doing that fewer times now. Like I'm just not doing that anymore. Like for March, I'll stay one night at Wynn just to say that I'm doing it. But the bulk of my trip is going to be at one property. So I'm going to go out again in the summer. I don't think I'm going to change properties at all. I want to get better at that, because I think after Wynn, I've seen and stayed in most of the rooms that I want to stay in now. And so now it's just figuring out dedicating, my play at the stay and, all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, do you think that if you do a longer stay, let's call it a 4-night stay, if you do that at one property, are you going to have trouble not straying and gambling elsewhere? Or I guess the word would be concentrating. Are you going to have trouble concentrating your play at that property for 4 or 5 days?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Just the way that I've kind of approaching it now, I kind of know where I want to be playing at. I think the three of us, and I think a lot of our listeners, like kind of just know where they want to go now. And I think this kind of goes back to like what you said earlier, Jack, was about like comparing Venetian and MGM, where you hear these people, and I've said it on the podcast before, like, oh, I never get offers from this place. It's like, well, you never play at that place, so of course you're not going to get offers there. And I think part of that maximizing thing is actually playing in other places and doing that apples to apples comparison the best that you can, so that you know where you're going to be treated the best based on your level of play, what you like to play. And I haven't been good about that. I'm sure there's lots of people who are just not good at that at all. And we just kind of fall into our rhythm and, end up at Cosmo Chandelier for 8 straight hours and just call it a day.
Yeah, I don't currently track anything, or I haven't in the past, but this year I do want to like be able to say, oh, these are the number of comped nights that I got, and like around the value. I'm not going to do a Mark Duvall and like go into Expedia in incognito mode and put in someone else's name so I can see exactly how much money I might have not spent on a room. I'm not going to go that far, but I do think it will help a little bit for my own psyche when I see the win-loss statement at the end of the year and I say, well, at least I got this stuff out of it. Now it really shouldn't. I should just be like, hey, I'm having fun, right? Which, is, as long as the fun's still going, right? But I think I'll really like that.
What if you could track that?
Track the fun?
Yeah.
So your most recent trip, just be like 15 minutes of not having fun.
but then each time you have fun, you get to like check off a little box or something.
I like that. Or like maybe if you like get a 4 of a kind or something, you can check off the box to see how much
DEF CON fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the idea of anytime you notice you're having fun, you just go into your app. And if you're having so much fun that it even takes you out of the moment. You
guys are going to be like,
you're having,
it seems like when Adam's around, we're not having fun.
Exactly. We need to data.
You got to track the inputs and the outputs, Adam.
Right.
You know how like you go out of the bathroom and there's like the smiley face and the sad face. Like,
right.
did you have a good time in this bathroom?
We all just have a button on a necklace, and every time like
just like life
Jack
alert.
gets up to leave to go to bed, we just press it. And frowny face.
And then do I try to maximize it? I think I'm really bad at maximizing it, because I'll do the thing where I'm getting really good offers, let's say at MGM, and then all of a sudden one trip I'm like, oh, let's just pop over there because I want to play there, and I play there for 2 hours, and I'm like, why did my resort credit go from $450 to $150? And I was like, oh yeah, because I played for an hour at the Chandelier Bar and only put a little bit through. So I would like to be more aware of that. But then also I'm like, I had more fun doing this than I did whatever value I'm going to get.
Right.
As long as I'm getting, and I think we've said this before on the pod, as long as I'm getting a free room at a nice property in Vegas, I think the rest of it going up, the marginal benefit that I'm getting from some of the other things, unless I get to a point where they're like, oh, here's some free tickets to a hockey game, I don't think it's really going to affect me much.
I agree 100%. My buddy actually kind of asked that, where he was like, if you had some like weird big windfall that increased your net worth by like a large amount for whatever reason, like, would you gamble more? And, obviously it's kind of a tough question to think about, like, all the ways your life might change if you randomly were awarded some large sum of money. But yeah, the thing I kind of pointed out to him was that same thing, where it's like, I've only kind of just recently reached that I get to stay for free where I want most weekends if I go to Vegas. And that is a huge threshold, that you're not like picking and choosing hotels based on cost and where you want to be. It's just picking based on where you want to be. And once you're over that, the rest just kind of feels like, eh. So yeah, I'm with you.
I still might gamble more. Like if I had a large windfall, I'd be like, well, this is great. I'm just going to probably have to still feel that pain a little bit. But I don't think I'd care much about the comp stuff.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that I'm going to track things more diligently and then do absolutely nothing with that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, that was always my idea too, the same thing, where it's like, I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'll try to maximize it when it feels appropriate and when I care about it. But I'm also just going to throw caution to the wind and just kind of do what I want to do at the time because it's fun. So, yeah, you got to find that balance. Yeah. All right. Good question, so I like that topic. Steve gave us some feedback on some breakfast spots.
Yeah, he wrote in talking about a few places. We heard about, some other favorites like Hash House, A Go-Go, and Mon Ami Gabi. But the one I wanted to highlight that he talked about was Bardot at Aria. And mostly because of this first sentence. Steve writes, if Bouchon has a true breakfast competitor on the Strip, this is it.
Wow.
Dinner at Bardot is fine, but very skippable. Brunch is where it shines, and they only run it late week and weekends. Small details matter here. Their hash browns are double cooked and pressed into perfect square bricks. The French toast is made with oversized brioche. And quick aside here, he's not kidding. It's like the biggest slice of bread you can imagine. The rumor has it that like when the chef was setting up the menu, there was like a metric to imperial conversion error, and he wanted it like to be 4 centimeters thick, which is like pretty thick French toast, and they do it 4 inches thick. And
it's like the Stonehenge bit in Spinal Tap or something.
Well, and I don't know how true that story is, but it's like a 4-inch thick piece of bread. You're getting a massive slice of French toast there. Anyways, he continues, my go-tos are the quiche or the croque madame. I've been here more than 24 times and I've yet to see a miss. And so I thought this would be good to bring up because it's also a good segue into James's upcoming trip where he might be looking at doing some Bardot.
Well, and he wrote copy for Bardot about as good as you can write copy for Bardot. Like that was really well constructed. To the point where I'm like, I feel like he works there.
He might.
I've been here more than 24 times,
Yeah, because you have a shift last month.
Like, because 24 times in the last 24 days now.
But I have to check it out for breakfast because like I've done the happy hour with you, Jack, and it was good. But
I've only done it for brunch once, and they like started to warn us about the French toast. They were like, yo, it's like really big. And we were like, oh, we knew that. And then after we received it, we were like, oh, they were warning us because we should have split it, not because we were going to be surprised at its girth.
Right. I've been there. The reason why this is a good segment is because Steve is one of my very good friends who will be in Vegas this weekend. I'm leaving in less than 24 hours.
You got to shift at Bardot.
Exactly. It's true. So we're recording this on Wednesday night, and I will be on a plane in less than 24 hours heading out to Las Vegas. When last episode dropped, he texted me rather quickly and was like, I have some things to say about breakfast. And I have to take you to Bardot this weekend. So we will be going there on Saturday. Myself, Kim, Josh Duffy's going to join us, which will be good, and Steve. So it'll be a really fun time. I'm really excited for this trip because I just couldn't wait all the way till March. Just like I feel like I've been to Vegas recently, right? I was there the first weekend of December. Jack has been there twice since the last time I was there.
Yeah, well,
So I'm really excited to be hanging out with Duffy, with Vegas Duffy from Crap Vegas, which we're not plugging because we've used up all of our plugs, but they need to be washed. So I will be leaving in less than 24 hours for Vegas, which I am extremely excited for. Kim wants to make sure we make use of the syringes, the handy at the shandy syringes. And what I realized is that, like, I don't make a lot of cocktails. So, Jack, I just want to know, like, how much of like the stuff, the simple syrup, the bitters, like how much do you put into these things? Because I don't think I should fill it up completely up, right?
no, and you do want to just measure it out in accordance with what a recipe would say. Generally, if you're using like a rich simple syrup, I mean, part of it, I would say it depends on your taste, right? Like, see how much sugar you put in per water to your syrup, and then try making a drink with it. Because the first time I tried it, I ended up with way too much sugar in the syringe and not enough bitters. And so I think it really depends on your taste, but I generally try to do like a 1/4 ounce of rich simple syrup and then some pretty hefty dashes of bitters.
It also has to meet TSA regulations as well. So it can't be more than 3 ounces.
Well, yeah, but that 3 ounces is a lot.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
No, okay. Sorry.
And also, do you do
thinking in metric?
You're thinking in metric.
It was a French toast issue over
That's
here
right.
in my brain. I'm sorry.
Do you do like one syringe per drink, or do you put multiple measurements in one syringe?
Good question.
I do 2 in 1 for sure. But then the issue, you have to make sure it's really well homogenized. Otherwise, you're going to get like one old fashioned that's all sugar and another that's all bitters.
That's good. So. That's good tips. That's good.
Gambling though, yeah.
It's a little gambling. One more question: do you ever get questioned when you're going through TSA about this?
No one. I've never been stopped by TSA. I don't think for like anything in my bag. I guess one time, I take that back. One time on the way home, I had too much toothpaste in the tube, but I was like, it's strictly less than
That's the thing they
I
stopped
came
me for.
with.
I got stopped for baby wipes on our last trip, but you have syringes full of mystery liquids, and they're like, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, so we're going to use the syringes. I also made some updates to the 4 of a Kind tracker that we will post. I'm hoping they're ready. I sent them to the printer last Friday, did not hear from them. So I said, okay, like on Tuesday morning, I'm like, just, I'm leaving on Thursday. And they're like, okay, we'll make sure we get them started today. And I'm like, let's see. So maybe they'll have. Either way, it'll be a fun time. Plans are getting in late on Friday. I got moved over to the Palazzo. So when I booked with my host, they said they can only get me in at Venetian. I was like, okay, that's fine. I figured a week before I would just email and say, hey, anyway, you can get me over at Palazzo. Got me over there. So I'm super excited. We will, like I said earlier in the last hour, there's no way I'm getting into Vegas, even if it's 11 p.m. and not going and putting in a little bit of gambling time. So I will go down to the high limit room and have a couple of nice drinks and lose a little bit of money. Friday, I've got a business meeting. Yes, part of this is a business trip. It's part of the reason why we're going out there.
Part of this is a business trip.
No, we
selling handy at the shandy syringes.
Correct,
it's not a business meeting.
We are hoping to partner with a company out in Las Vegas to offer some SAT boot camps here in State College. So it'll be interesting. We've talked to them a couple times, and now we're going to go check out their space. It's going to be really fun. I also am getting a haircut and a shave at the barbershop. You know how Jack was doing all these new things when he went last week? I'm just doing all of the things I usually do, which includes dinner at Bavette's that night.
Yes.
I texted Duffy. I was like, hey, you mentioned you've never been to Bavette's. I'm going to go and get my haircut at the barbershop at Cosmo. We should just walk over to Park and do dinner at Bavette's. He's like, that's a great idea. And then we both said, we've got some good comp offers at MGM properties. So we both booked a night at Cosmo that night to use some of that resort. And also we're going to put in some time at Shandy in between.
This is like one of those, if
dinner.
You give a moose a muffin, sort of like cautionary children's tales. Like you schedule one haircut and then all of a sudden it's an entire double booking.
Maximizing comps.
Yeah, maximize comps. So we will stay a night at Cosmo. Like I said, we'll do breakfast at Bardot the next morning on Saturday. But then Saturday's just all day Venetian Palazzo, dinner at Delmonico. Sunday, we're going to the Venetian Palazzo Super Bowl party and then taking the red eye home. So I don't know what else will be in that trip report, but I'm sure random things will come up. I'm so pumped. It's kind of like by the time anyone's listening to this, it's going to be after I'm back, but then we won't be recording for 2 more weeks this trip report. So it's the timing is so out of whack, but I'm just so excited. I can't wait. There's no way I'm going to sleep tonight, but that's okay.
And I'll be sailing the 7 seas with Mickey Mouse with my phone off. So I'm going to be opening it up to a bunch of texts from you that I'm going to have to like wade through. So that'll be fun.
That was a good rundown for me. Thank you, James. Great job.
And that's talking good rundown.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about it. And thank you to people for obviously giving us feedback, messaging us, having questions. It helps us make these podcast episodes fun. Also, thank you to people who have left reviews. I don't know if you guys have seen. We've gotten some positive ones, which is great. So really fun to see. So thanks for doing that.
We got some really good feedback in the inbox from Graham from Cheftimony. He said that he left a review on Canadian iTunes, which is like American iTunes, except it only has a review from him.
But if he left 5 stars, do we only get 4 in Canadian stars, or how does that work?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it, Graham. And yeah, so thanks again to everybody for all the kind words and for reaching out. Like I said, it makes us a lot of fun. But that's going to do it for hour 2 of episode 16 of Handy at the Shandy. For Table James Games and Boring Jack, I am Adam the Fraud. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Okay. What?
Sorry, I blew it. You can go now.